This is The Conversation on HPR2. I'm Chris Vandercook. Good morning, Beth Ann.
Good morning, Chris.
This is one of those days when one story kind of hovers over all the others, doesn't it?
Hovers closely to all of us, and that means all of us throughout the United States and certainly here in Hawaii as we're watching the shutdown take form.
And political gamesmanship at its most disillusioning to the populace, yeah?
For a lot of people, true. And this morning there's additional finger-pointing, stinging vitriol, and a whole lot more rancor than usual as Republicans and Democrats are blaming each other for the partial government shutdown that began last night. Meanwhile, the debt ceiling deadline is only 2 weeks away, and an underperforming economy continues to chug along. So what happens now? Short of one side or the other capitulating, is there a way back to a functional government? We're going to ask Hawaii Representative Colleen Hanabusa, who joins us now by phone from Washington. Good morning.
Good morning, Beth Ann.
You've had quite a night.
Well, we had quite a night Saturday night, and we had one again last night, and right now we're waiting. So before you ask me the question as to what's going on, I have to tell you and the people back home, we don't know. We have been told that there could be votes, but nothing has been scheduled. So we are waiting for the Republican majority, who, of course, who controls the agenda and what comes to the floor for votes. We have to wait for them to decide what we vote on, if we'll vote on anything today.
Well, we've been close to a shutdown many times, and we're soon to have another debt ceiling showdown. Is this the new normal, this governing by crisis?
I think we've seen governing by crisis since I think the Republicans took the House, and we've been able to avert it all the way. Unfortunately, now we weren't able to avert the shutdown, which happened this morning, and but I think, as you know, what everyone is also very concerned about is the fact that the debt ceiling is coming up on October 17th. So within 17 days, and that is what we are very concerned about, what will happen in terms of the full faith and credit of the United States. So, as you know, also, for some reason, Wall Street isn't taking the shutdown critically, and I think it's because they really believe that, everyone will come to their senses and we will have a continuing resolution, probably a clean one passed, and that it will take care of that. But Wall Street is also looking very, very carefully at what we do with the quote-unquote, the debt ceiling. And the people have spoken. In the various polls that have been taken, people have said, do not use Obamacare as the basis for why you would shut down government and or the reason why you would delay any kind of action on the debt ceiling. So though the people have said that, it's just not resonating.
So we have this gap between what people are talking about in general and what's happening in Washington, and the rest of the world is watching this. What do you think the showdown over not just the debt ceiling but the shutdown that started this morning at midnight says about us?
It doesn't. I think it says that, for some reason we don't have adults in the room, and I think that's clearly what it's saying. And it's also saying that for the Republicans in the House, and they are the majority, is that there's a minority within that majority that are actually dictating the terms as to how the majority is acting. So that is why you have a situation where, I thought on Sunday, early Sunday morning, when we voted on they had two separate amendments, and that's what I think people kind of got confused about. There are two separate amendments that would have stood alone. One was to delay the implementation of the Affordable Care Act for a whole year, and the second one was to basically repeal the medical device tax. But they were independent of each other. You could do one or the other. And the what they call the conscience clause, the provisions, which were to women's contraceptive programs, that was in the 1 year delay of the Affordable Care Act. So it was almost expected to fail. But the medical device portion, which also could have passed and also could have then been the continuing resolution, because they were worded as a motion to concur with the continuing resolution with the amendment, and those were two separate amendments. And they sent both of them back to the Senate, even if the Senate said at that point they would not entertain either of them, and they would be sent back. They tabled both of those amendments, and they sent back the continuing resolution as originally drafted by the Senate. And, we did that all yesterday, a whole bunch of different types of bills, and in the end, it resulted with this shutdown when the Senate said that they would return at 9:30 in the morning today and send it back.
So with this sort of all or nothing proposition and the fact that you've got a factionalized GOP, how do you get around this?
I think it's going to come down to people. It's going to have to be the constituents of the respective members who are holding their own party hostage, who say enough is enough. And I think that's what we're gonna need. And short of that, and as some of the Republicans in the Senate have said, that they have Senator Cruz from Texas, who basically keeps pushing the Republicans in the House to do this, even if his own party in the Senate do not support what he proposes.
There are some who have been saying for quite a while now that we're watching the devolvement of the GOP, and that's not a good thing for American democracy. Would you agree?
We are I'm a Democrat, so of course I want to see the Democrats in power, because philosophically that promotes our what we look at and the philosophies that we hold. Having said that, however, we are a nation that anticipates a two-party system, but you can't have a two-party system when you cannot reach compromise, and that's always, to me, been the strength of when we are able to pass legislation, and when you have a two-party system and you have people, and whether you're in majority or minority, who can agree and be able to say, hey, for the best interest of this nation. But what we're having is a situation in the GOP where within the GOP you're seeing that dissension. And you saw that on the Senate side when the GOP members criticized their own membership who held to that position. In that particular case, it was people like John McCain criticizing Senator Cruz. And we're seeing the same thing in the House now. We're seeing the minority within the majority party, some call them the Tea Partiers, who are now being criticized by basically the majority, the remaining majority of the majority, and it is not a good situation. But it comes down to leadership, and it comes down to what Speaker Boehner is going to decide is the price of his speakership. I believe that's what it comes down to. Whether it's in the best interest of we want to act in the best interest of the people of this nation, not play with their livelihoods, not let this shutdown continue, or you're going to just continue to kowtow to a minority within your own party because, they're going to go out there and they're going to say to other members within the party that they're going to be primaried. And this is what it comes down to. It is that they're more afraid of their own primarying them than they are of Democrats.
Meanwhile, for the rest of the Democrats, you're going to be sitting there and just waiting to see what happens because you've already played your hand. Thanks so much.
We haven't really had a hand to play. I mean, we just react to whatever we're allowed to vote on. But I am certain, Beth Ann, that if they let a clean CR come to the floor, it
would be done.
It will be done. It will be done. And I also believe that they would not be violating their own rule, the Hastert rule, because I believe the majority of the majority would support a clean CR. And if they didn't, if they did what they did with VAWA, the Violence Against Women's Act, and to let it come to the floor, we would have the Democrats plus the sufficient number of Republicans. In that case, I think it was about 80 of them who voted with us, and we got it done. It will be done, and we don't have to have the people's livelihood affected, and we don't have to have all these different types of programs like, Head Start and potentially Meals on Wheels and how they affect our kupuna, we wouldn't have to have those affected if they would just make the hard decision.
All right, well, we're going to wait and see what decision happens and how soon it happens. Thanks so much for taking time to be with us this morning or afternoon your time.
That's right. Thank you, Beth Ann. Always good to talk to you. Thank you.
And to you, too. Thanks so much. Representative Colleen Hanabusa is the representative from the 1st Congressional District.